What it do, YouTube? Y'all know we got to start it off now. Today I got another fade coming for y'all. I'm sorry I ain't able to get no tapers for y'all. I got y'all next time, though. I guarantee it. I promise y'all. But today we pretty much doing the same type of fade. I'm not gonna lie, but this time, this in particular client, he only does natural haircuts. So we gonna keep it as natural as possible. We gonna make it as blurry as possible. We gonna make it as crispy as possible. Now right here, you see I'm just debulking now. You see I kind of took it down right here. This guard, this is a 1.5 guard right here. And I'm just going with the grain on top and then against the grain, the debulk on the sides to blend it right into that top. And you see me, man, I'm working that clip. I'm not doing anything too extravagant. Now, I always like to comb back down to spread that those hair follicles back out, so to make the cutting process so much smoother, especially with the hair, and make sure I'm not patching him at all. With this, now you can see everything I just did to this side that you were able to see. I'm doing the same thing to that opposite side. There isn't anything different going on with that side, guys. And I really just want to stress keeping a certain technique in play. Now, especially if you're a beginner. Now, of course, if you're advanced, you can switch up techniques and, once you're really just that comfortable behind the clippers. But if you are a beginner, then make sure you stick to one fading technique that works best for you and really just hone in on that fading technique and make it do as much for you as it possibly can. Now, with this, I'm just setting in my guideline. I'm not doing nothing too crazy when I'm saying in this guideline, but I kind of drop it down a little bit in the back. You know what I'm saying? Just to complement his head shape, guys. Just complement his head shape. You really got to pay attention to the head shape of the client that you have to know what fade will look best on that shape of head. Now, you see right here, I'm coming in with my masters all the way open. And I'm just really making do what it do. Now, I really love coming in with the masters all the way open because that tooth is a little longer. So I can bring that fade up just a little higher without having it looking too bald, I should say. Now, with that, I really just like to go in a couple times to make sure I got as many hairs as I possibly can, get through those teeth of the blade. And right now I'm just coming in halfway, blending in between that all the way open and that zero. And I'm just flicking out, y'all. Y'all see me. I really just use those corners. Your corners is your best friend. They will be your best friend. They will help you throughout that fading process. Make sure you're utilizing those corners as much as possible. And another thing when using those corners, it helps you not setting in another guideline that wasn't wanted. You don't ever really want to lay those clippers just flat, the blade just flat flush on there unless you're trying to take off multiple hair, a nice section of hair at one time, and you don't care about putting that guideline in. So you really got to know when to use what, really. That's all it really is. Now with this, I'm coming in with my 1 guard, and I'm going in right below where I came in with that 1.5, and I'm just flicking out that bulk, guys. I'm flicking out that bulk. That is it. That is all. As you see, I still got some bulk up there, and I'm gonna go back in with that 1.5. Don't worry about it. Don't stress it. We're gonna make it make sense. I'm gonna go back in, but right here, I'm just going in with that 1 still, and I came down, dropped down. I'm all the way closed. I'm just flicking out right below where I was at with it all the way open, y'all. And I'm making it look as blurry. But y'all see that fade already coming along. I ain't even do too much of nothing, man. I didn't do too much of nothing. And that fade already just about looking blurry. It's just about there. So with this, I'm just coming in with my, I just came in, flicked out a little bit with that 0.5 guard, which is right below that 1 guard. And right now I'm back with my 1.5 guard. As you can see me, I'm blending back where that bulk at, where I said I was going to come back in with it. And I'm just blending out that bulk, flicking, comb, flick, guard. I probably go in and flick out with my clippers 3 to 4 times before I comb it back down. I don't really time it out. That's just something I guess I ended up developing within myself, and I kind of just stuck with it after that. But yeah, I'm coming back in now, and this is my 0.5 guard, guys. My 0.5 guard. And that's I really just consider that my detailing guard. Now, I don't really know how too many other people fade, but this 0.5 really helps me put great detail into the fade, man, to where it's not taking up too much hair at one time, and it's really just feathering that hair as much as possible. Y'all can see that blend coming along. Y'all see how blurry that fade is. I ain't got to say too much. Y'all know what's going on. It's butter every single time. Ain't no omelet included with that. That's just straight butter. That's straight butter. Now with this, I'm coming in, I just blending out the top of that beard a little bit. Just doing a little ahead of time since I'm right there already. Now you see this back, how I was saying I kind of had it dropped a little bit in the back. Now I'm coming in all the way open, and you just doing the same exact steps that you did with the sides. You're doing the same exact steps, you just blending into the rest of it. Now you see that I came in halfway, blending out halfway. Now I'm finna drop down all the way close. I'm finna blend out all the way at the bottom. That's it. Very, very, very simple steps, guys. Anyone can follow these steps. Really, haircutting, it most definitely requires talent and skill, but most importantly, it's repetitions. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they say you got to put your 10,000 hours in when it comes to things like this, when it comes to trade. Anything that you really get hands on, you need to put your 10,000 hours in, man, because you really need that repetition, that experience under your belt, man, to really know what you're doing behind that chair, honestly. So with this, I'm just coming in with my one guard, and I'm flicking out right above where I was all the way at open. With no guard, I'm just flicking out right above that. As you can see, guys, I'm just making sure it come out as smooth and as buttery as possible. I'm not doing too much with that clipper. I'm keeping it flush on that skin. But one thing that I have learned is, and I will urge any upcoming barber, even if you're a seasoned barber, don't put too much pressure on that clipper. Make sure you stay as gentle and as light-handed as possible. I got it sped up a little bit, so it may look like I'm putting more pressure or applying more pressure than I actually am on the head. But with this, just make sure you putting it as flush and as lightly as possible. Like I said, all you doing is tapping and flicking out. You ain't got to do too much of nothing. As a matter of fact, what I've learned in my few years of cutting, my 4 or so years of cutting, is that when you are going in with that guard and with that clipper, the more pressure you put, in actuality, you're gonna be setting guidelines that you don't want to have to put in there, man, because it's gonna be hard taking those guidelines out, or at least it's gonna take a little more time than it should. So make sure you're just flicking out, man, so you ain't creating unnecessary guidelines. I mean, who wants to deal with all that? Who wants to deal with unnecessary guidelines? We could just do it the right way from the beginning, and you save time on that. So with this, I'm just going in, like I said, I'm in with that 0.5, and I am just detailing, man. I am just detailing. I'm hitting them corners. I'm flicking out. I'm being really, really light and gentle with that clipper. And I'm coming back in, and, like I said, I got that. I love that long tooth on those masters, and all I'm doing, I'm coming back in, and I'm just detailing my work that's back there. And I'm just flicking it out and blending out in between levels as much as possible, guys. I'm not doing anything that you can't follow along with. I'm not doing anything that's going to be far out of the average barber's skill set or tool bag. It's very simple, guys. I'm telling you, I cannot stress that enough. This is the easiest, cleanest. Man, this fade finna be looking so butter. It don't even make sense, man. Y'all know I'm gonna do what I do as usual, per usual. If you haven't been locked in, if you haven't subscribed yet, why haven't you subscribed? Ask yourself that. Make it make sense. Why haven't you subscribed? You're subscribing to everybody else on the tube that you know ain't cutting like Don. You know they not cutting like Don. Yet you taking the time out your day. But anyways, we'll go back to the video. So with my lineup prep, I like to do a hot towel with shaving cream. And I didn't put the hot towel in this one. It's in my other two videos. I didn't put the hot towel in particular in this one. But that's all I'm doing after this. I just put the hot towel on it, let it sit for about 2 to 3 to 4 minutes, depending on however long it takes to cool down on that particular client's head. And after that, I just wipe it off with the towel, blow dry, and comb it down and lock it in. That's all I do. I'm not doing anything too extravagant. Now, you see, oh, my Lord, them low pros are smacking. It's a lot of people that can't get they liners hitting like that, but trust, them boys hitting. And it's another thing. I also posted this on IG. Everyone does not have a box lineup, man. Everyone does not have a box lineup. There are multiple different forehead shapes, and you have to go and line up the lineup according to the shape of the forehead. And as you can see with this particular client, he has a very rounded forehead that comes out to a point in the front and goes down to the back and a little lower on the sides, guys. It's simply put, it's what I guess will be considered a rainbow hairline in a sense. So I keep it as true to that as possible. Now, as you can see, some might call this a pushback with those areas right there I'm hitting, but I have to bring that back. I have to bring that up a little bit, or else, man, you're not it's going to look terrible. It's going to look terrible if I don't dig into that hair a little bit. Plus, my client is fully aware of this, and he has no complaints whatsoever. So with this, I'm just, as you can see, those things are tap and goes. Those are hitters. I have number hitters in my arsenal, guys. I don't play around when it comes to these liners. I set them as perfectly as I possibly can. I'm not going to act like I'm a liner guru with how I would set blades, but what I do for me definitely works for me. So with this, I'm just coming in with the razor, and the razor is just, man, it's detail work, and it makes the cut last an extra day or two, probably keeping it stretch an extra 3 days, depending on the rate of growth of the client of his hair. That's really all it really depends on. At the end of the day, of course, your hair grows faster, then of course it's not going to last as long. That's just common sense. But yeah, I like to lay my clients back in the chair, and I just come in with that razor because, for one, it makes it far easier for me in particular to get in there and detail with that razor as much as possible to make sure I'm not nicking the client's head, cutting the client's head at all. Worst case scenario, you do not want to do that, man. You want to make sure that razor, as sharp as it may be, that you really know what you're doing with that razor, man, that you pull on that skin, that you're creating a tight enough surface so that you're not nagging loose skin, because that's normally what happens sometimes if it ain't just them putting too much pressure with the razor and cutting from that way. It's them accidentally snagging loose skin because they didn't stretch the skin enough, so they're accidentally snagging loose skin. Or it could be a combination of both, too much pressure and snagging loose skin, you know what I'm saying, which is obviously the worst case scenario, because you're gonna get a pretty deep cut if you're in deep waters like that. And so yeah, of course, all barbers have did that at one point, you know what I'm saying? But it's growth, and it's getting better, and it's perfecting your craft, and that's what matters. So with this, I'm just coming in on that beard line, and I'm just hitting it with the razor. You can see I'm stretching the skin, and I like to hold my other hands to brace the skin. I like to hold the top of my forefingers on the top of the forehead, and put my thumb to stretch the skin. I just come in with the other hand. Very simple technique. Yeah, man, the razor is, don't get me wrong, the razor definitely, I would say personally, has the most learning curve, because you really have to get used to understanding how that razor works. With me personally, I would encourage any beginning barber to make sure when they're using that razor to have it not as exposed as possible. But for me, I expose my razor a great bit, because I'm able to get the lines a lot sharper, a lot easier that way. The more exposed the blade, the easier it is to cut, and the sharper it's going to be. So if you are going to expose your blade and your razor holder, if you are going to expose it more, make sure you have the skill set not to nick or cut that client, because that's going to be ugly, especially depending on how bad you end up doing it. Now with this, I like getting those loose hairs. Like I say, detail work that's going to set you apart from other barbers. Make sure you're detailing. Always make sure you're detailing. As you can see, I'm can't even come back in with those liners. I'm detailing. I'm coming back in with the masters. I am detailing that fade, guys. I will not, I refuse to let my client get out that chair and I see something I feel like, no. I'm sit back down. Let me hit this spot real quick. I'm trying to have it as perfect as possible. Yes, I'm a perfectionist. I feel like I'm not letting you out my chair unless I did that. And we out.